Shabazz for this wonderful honor. And please let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Lord, Thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever Thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, Thou art God. Unto Thee, O Almighty and most merciful God, Thou who art the creator and sustainer of all life, we offer thanksgiving and praise for Thy bountiful blessings. We thank Thee for granting us another day in Your creation. We pray that Your presence might permeate these chambers and guide the course of these proceedings. Infuse each member of this august body with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and compassion as they deliberate. Cause them to remember the true purpose for their being, to serve the interests of all Thy people. Endow them with a spirit of cooperation, that they might work together with the mayor and city officials for the betterment of this great city, Atlantic City. We ask a special blessing upon the residents of this city. Lift up the downtrodden. Give hope to the hopeless, healing to the brokenhearted, and liberty to those who are captive. Stretch forth Thy hand upon this city, that all men, that all women, that all children might see Thy glory and declare Thy praise. These and all blessings we ask in Thy holy and righteous name. For Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. And let us all say amen.
Amen.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law by the city clerk, sending to the press and the Philadelphia Inquirer on January 6, 2017, and published on January 9, 2017, and to the Star Ledger on January 19, 2017, and published on January 21, 2017. A list of the meetings for the council of the city of Atlantic City, including notice of the meeting scheduled for June 14, 2017 at 5 p.m. in the Hank Tyner Council Chambers, room 206, City Hall, 1301 Baccarat Boulevard. And also a copy of said notice was posted by the city clerk on the bulletin board in the main lobby, first floor on the same date. All of the aforesaid complies with NJSA 10:4-6, et sec, known as the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Law, and NJSA 40:69A-179. This is a regular council meeting of the City Council of Atlantic City. Before we begin, please be aware of our rules in this chamber. All persons are to be seated unless all seats are filled, in which case you may stand against the wall in orderly fashion. We are asking that all gentlemen remove their hats. All persons are to remain quiet during these proceedings. This is so that everyone is able to hear what is going on. Please turn off all cell phones or set them to silent. No one shall speak unless they are invited to do so by the council president. Shouting, interrupting, speaking out of turn, or acting disorderly in any fashion will not be tolerated, and anyone doing so will be removed from the meeting. When and if you are invited to the microphone to speak, please state your name and address. You'll be allotted 3 minutes for comment. Please respect the time for other persons and end your speech within the 3 minutes allowed. If it is your intention to ask a question of council, you will be permitted to ask a maximum of 2 questions. Your questions are to be clearly stated, and after the questions are asked, you are to take your seat. The council president will determine if the question can be answered and by whom. Finally, please understand that there will be no personal attacks or name calling. If you do so, your time will be immediately cut short and you may be asked to leave. Reports and recommendations from the mayor. Ordinance 12 of 2017 was signed by the mayor on June 12, 2017. Council President, have we any committee reports?
Shabazz.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, we have only one item on the agenda Resolution 359 to rescind Beta Fuel Conscious. That's for the gentleman who was here at the last council meeting for the benefit of the public. I had said that this gentleman had tied up a number of dates with the city, and my issue with him was that he had not produced a concert, even though he tied up dates and he wanted to get more dates. I invited him to the Planning and Development Committee, Planning and Development Committee, verbally across the rostrum. We sent him a letter. He did not attend, for the record. We waited, the meeting started at 5, we waited till almost 6:45, and the gentleman did not show, he did not call. So that's why this resolution is on today, to rescind those dates, and I would ask for support for that resolution. That's my report.
No, I haven't yet. Sid?
Council President. I don't know what, we passed an ordinance on the lawns getting high, and there's a lot of private homes right now with lawns up to your waist. I don't know if our ordinance can force them to cut it, if we can send someone out to cut it, or if we have to adjust the ordinance, like Ventnor and Margate don't tolerate that type of stuff. They send somebody out, they cut it, they send them a bill, and they put a lien on the property if they refuse to pay the bill. But no neighbor should be forced to have to look at waist-high lawn. Everybody's lawn gets 8 inches once in a while, but waist-high is unacceptable. And there's quite a few lawns out there right now throughout every ward that are out of control.
All you have to do is, I've been doing it ever since I've been here, and it's been happening. As a matter of fact, he's cut 3 lawns for me. You should see Mr. Jerkins, and he'll take care of that. He's done 3 for me already.
I'll give him a list of addresses.
There's a problem for the lien, the problem's done. Well, you can see Mr. Finch, either one. They've done it, they've been doing it for me ever since I've been on here. We've been on here at the same time, right?
I've been on here at the same time.
Right,
I've sent people to call the administration.
All right, well, either see Mr. Finch or...
I guess I have a question to the administration. For members of the public that might see what Councilman Tippett's referring to, what's the best phone number for them to call?
I always give the mayor's office and let her send it to whoever.
Public Works is 347-5700.
Okay. Because I think if everybody's helping us who sees this in the city, we can help get a better handle on it.
Yeah, Mr. Finch will help you solve it for minutes. 5290.
Director just said 347-5290. So 347-5290.
Councilman, the actual proper procedure that if the lawn or the grass decide to contact Mr. Dale Finch, Mr. Dale Finch will then send out an inspector once the violation is given. If they had not corrected the problem with the time frame of the violation, then he contacts my office. We then go out, we do it, we bill, send that information to Dale, and then he processes the rest of the paperwork.
What's the time frame for that, sir?
7 days.
7 days?
7 days.
It might be 16 feet then, so...
Thank you for responding to me anyway. You responded early, so
He
thank you.
probably got an opportunity to take care of himself.
So Dale, just being, facetious, every time I called you, always come out
Always.
to help me out. But if you could just condense that a little bit.
Try to squeeze it.
Okay.
Communications and petitions are listed on the agenda, will not be read into the record. We are now up to public comment on good and welfare. Tom Forkin.
Council members, I think last time I was here, I asked, and I don't think the question was answered, and I
Just
think...
use the microphone, Mr. Ford.
Right there.
Oh, okay. It's fine.
You gotta see your glasses because
I know, right?
right there.
My question at the last council meeting was where and how much the luxury room parking tax are. It was a simple question. I don't know if it was answered. It wasn't answered. I know it wasn't answered. Because we had a misinformed member of the community that stood up and told me I was wrong somehow, that money was earmarked for the tunnel and convention center, which I do not believe is true. So this question is for Mr. Cunningham as much as it is City Council. Where's the money going? How much is it? Because as we draw these concerts into town, they all have a luxury tax associated with them. By my estimation, the luxury tax is in excess of $90 million, which is substantial annually. Now, if all or part of that money was redirected back to the city of Atlantic City for the administration to balance the budget and used for public safety in the tourism zone, in which the state presently pays nothing for public safety in the tourism zone, which is 75% of our city budget, or close to, we could actually lower property taxes. We have seniors getting taxed out of their homes, as you're well aware, and we have cuts in our children's programs in our school. I know Mr. Small was directing the middle school athletic programs, and we need structured activities for our kids, which is very important, because we can't turn around and wonder why our children get associated with gangs and so forth, if they don't have structured activities after school. So unfortunately, I need that question answered, and unfortunately it hasn't been answered, not by Mr. Cunningham, not by members of City Council, simply asking for the exact amount and where the money goes. Because there is no reason that we should be paying the high taxes that we're paying. We need property relief, and we need it sooner than later. Thank you.
Joe Palillo?
Question, I don't know if the question was going to be answered.
Oh.
Mr. Cunningham, can you answer the question, please?
No, I don't have anything to add prior. I would check with any CRETA offering statement. I think those documents are clear in terms of the use and proceeds of luxury taxes.
My name is Joseph Palillo. I'd like to know where the state's making their decisions, in the back room or in the audience. The Sunshine Law, Palillo versus Dean, New Jersey State Supreme Court, 1977. They're violating the Sunshine Law. I also believe that council should be voting 9-0 on ordinances again and again, right? It's like put it on the agenda, vote 9-0, 9-0. Let the guy in the state be jumping up and down like a jack in the box to nullify what you do, or to do it before you do it. Because council never acts, right? That's why they did the lifeguards. That's why they're doing everything, because you guys can't get along or don't do anything. Council, solicitor, city, or state solicitor, whatever, whoever they are, whoever they're trading for, council has subpoena power. Start subpoenaing these people to be right here on the road, because they're not telling you anything. And if they lie to you, charge them with contempt, just like Congress does for people. I would also subpoena all the directors, because you guys keep acting like you're running the city and handling all complaints and everything. You guys should refer everything to these directors. Everything. Because they're the administration. And they're not doing anything either. Okay, so that's good enough. And I'll go sit down, and I'm sure I won't get an answer. You never answer anybody's questions. So where's the transparency on that one? Now I want to talk quickly about Uber. The governor says they can't be license tagged or a fee. Well, our Atlantic City Code, Mercantile, says any business that does business in the city must be licensed. So where's the enforcement? The city enforces nothing, and that falls on the directors. So, hallelujah. I don't know who's next.
Mr. Palillo, in defense of our colleagues, we did move on the lifeguard. We passed a resolution 9-0 to have the state rescind the lifeguard pension. That was something that was placed on the city that we had nothing to do with, and we did do that, and the vote was 9-0, and we did start that.
They were quoted in the papers saying they beat all you guys to the punch that you didn't act.
So you believe everything read in the paper?
No. And when's my story going to be in the paper?
Also, if you remember the trash was pulled for one meeting to get more information and check the numbers. And the day before the council meeting, before they happened, vote one way or the other, the state made a decision one day before the council meeting to come back to the following council meeting. There was a meeting for the rolling chairs where they were gathering information and including the people that weren't included that were in business with the rolling chair. And again, the state acted one day before the council meeting, before the council could say yes or no.
Is Tim in the box going to answer my question?
Excuse me, Mr. Polito, your time is up.
So is
Thank-
yours, from what I understand.
I read the paper.
Go ahead.
Joyce Molyneux.
Good afternoon, Council President, council members, mayor. I want to thank Atlantic City for their vote for me and Atlantic County. The primary election
Ms.
is
Marlowe,
over. Excuse me.
we're not going to discuss, even though you're talking about yourself as a candidate, but we haven't allowed any political discussion. You can check the record. We haven't done that yet. And I'm going to stand to that rule. There will be no electioneering or referencing campaign in this chamber. And that has happened throughout.
Freedom of speech, you can say anything you want.
Hey, Mr. Polillo,
Yes.
the next time you have an outburst, I'm going to kindly ask you to be escorted from the chamber.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to leave.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay, my question to that would be, is that written in law here?
Ms. Molyneux?
I'm just asking that question.
Ms.
Now,
Molyneux, that is a rule that we set forth. Has there been no discussion about elections in this chamber?
voted on and approved?
Check. Ms. Molyneux, I'm telling you what it is.
I'm asking the question, was it
Well,
voted on and approved?
I answered your question several times, several ways. That's what it is.
Yes or no answer?
Ms. Molyneux, proceed, please. Thank you.
That's not a yes or no answer. So let's go to the signs. Can I talk about the signs that's on properties that need to be removed? It is an ordinance in law for the city. Can we talk about that? I'm asking
Go
you a
ahead,
question.
the solicitor said yes. Go ahead.
I'm asking the question. I can't go till you tell me that. Okay, there were political signs located on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, which belonged to the state. I mean, it doesn't belong to the state, but the boulevard is under the state. All those signs were placed up and down the boulevard, which is my ward, 3rd Ward, 3-1. And they shouldn't have been placed there. Anybody that took the sign, put the signs there, which was you, Councilman, they need to be removed and they should be fined for them, because there is an ordinance. Unless the state gave the approval for that. That's a no from you.
I know nothing of it, Ms. Molyneux.
Thank you. Also, I want for immediate release, I'm going to be this in the record. I hope I can do this. This is about the MUF. Okay? Is that okay? Thank you. The Atlantic City Democratic Committee passed a resolution strongly opposing the sale of the Atlantic City Water, MUA, to any third party. The public ownership of the municipal water system is perhaps the most asset that the citizens of Atlantic City own, and it will betray the public trust in government to turn over this most precious asset to a private entity for profit. The residents of Atlantic City have most recently been saddled with unaffordable increases in property taxes, and the privatization of the water resource will no doubt add to an unsustainable additional burden on the city taxpayers. We urge all organizations as well as our sister local governments and agencies
Ms. Molyneux,
fight
time's up.
against, well, you interrupted me a couple times.
I didn't interrupt you. You kept asking the same question over and over again. And you didn't like the answer that I gave you.
Councilman Small,
But finish reading the statement and your time is up.
thank you. We urge all organizations as well as our sister local governments and agencies to fight against the continued privatization efforts by corporate entities who wish to convert the most basic human need into a source for private profits. On the average, private water companies charge rates that are almost 80% higher than public managed systems. And in addition to being costly, the goals of private companies is not to protect and look out for the best interests of local residents, but rather to maximize profits for their shareholders. Recent lessons learned from citizens such as Flint, Michigan, warn that when you privatize profits over public safety, the very health of the citizenry is put in grave jeopardy. We strongly oppose, as the Atlantic City Democratic Committee, any effort to sell or privatize the water company. Thank you.
Carol Ruffey.
Good evening. I'm Carol Ruffey, 375 North Raleigh Avenue, Chelsea Heights. I'm not really living up in the air, but that's my address. And I'm here with Sheila and Alma, representing the Civic Associations of Atlantic City United. And we were here today at 12 o'clock. I'm still here. And we came in after our initiative, working with Food and Water Watch people who have, for 2 years, been working to save the MUA. And there's a lot more than just saving the MUA that's involved in this initiative. We, the civic associations, started in February with organizing the part of this effort to go out and get the petition signed. We started in March to go out and get petitions signed, and we had 119 volunteers that worked on this effort. And it wasn't just from the civic associations. It was from, well, the Chelsea Neighborhood Association is the largest, and there's a lot of area to cover. So I wanted to take this time to also thank the fire department, Atlantic City Fire Department, who came out with me on Saturdays and did Chelsea Heights to get the petitions, and I thank them for that. Also, we had help from faith-based churches that went out, our residents working in their own neighborhoods. We had volunteers that came in from Food and Water Watch and the Green Party from as far away as Boston, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. This was a national, this was viewed nationally as a movement, and all eyes were on Atlantic City. Several times there have been resolutions brought before City Council, whether to dissolve or not dissolve the MUA, whether to sell or not sell the MUA, what to do about the MUA, and no action can be taken by any of you. So we, the residents, the taxpayers of Atlantic City, known as the Atlantic City Taxpayers Against State Takeover, went out on our own, and we have an initiative, a petition that we submitted today to our city clerk. It was necessary for us to get 1,200 signatures in order to put a resolution to City Council to not sell the MUA. And if it's so they do decide to sell the MUA, or the state doesn't honor our resolution, if you all approve it 9-0, then the state doesn't want to do it, then we go to court. So we stood strong, the citizens went out there, the citizens got signatures, the voters of Atlantic City turned in 2,421 signed petitions today. And I'm very proud of that. Double that was required. And can I ask one question, even though my 3 minutes is up? I haven't been in council for a while. And I just have a question on the agenda. What is the County of Camden versus the City of Atlantic City? Civil action. What's that about?
It's a civil action in a prior case. It would take me too long to explain, so if you'd like to see me afterward, I wouldn't mind.
Just a little hint of what it's about?
Go ahead.
It's a very simple case. The City of Camden has Class 2 officers, and when a Class 2 officer moves from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction, they're entitled to be reimbursed for the money they put in training that particular officer. That can be against many jurisdictions. not just Atlantic City. They just want to be reimbursed for the money they put out.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, because, you know, we're working with the water department being sold, everything goes back to Camden County, so I was just curious.
And on behalf of the Venice Park Civic Association and the 87-year-old lady that I walked with to get the petition signed, we want the state to know that we have a lot of seniors in Atlantic City. I'm one of them. And I work too long and too hard, and I'm still working to pay the property taxes and all the other things that I have to pay because of what I call greed by people that we don't get to see who's getting what they get. So, please, you're the emissary. Go back and tell them the little old ladies and the little old men are getting sick and tired of it.
What's her name?
Alma Johnson.
You didn't introduce yourself.
Alma Irene Johnson.
Most of you all know me. I'm Sheila Holtley from Bungalow Park. And we are very happy, as Carol said, to turn in more than double the required number of signatures to have our resolution be considered. We have stood strong with our city government, always respecting the sovereignty of our city government, even when no one else did. We really need our city government to accept the resolution brought forth on behalf of all the signatures collected and let it be what it is. If it has to go beyond this point, as my colleague said, we will see you in court. Thank you.
And for those of you that couldn't be here today, if you go on Facebook at Atlantic City Allies, you can see the whole presentation from beginning to end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean Mayer.
Good evening. I'm retired Sergeant Dean Mayer from the Police Department. I'm here asking questions basically for not just police but fire, any city employee who got caught up in the state late. 2 council meetings ago, they said once the litigation was done and Judge Menendez made his ruling, that they would give us an answer as to what's going to happen with our terminal lease. That's what I'm here to find out today. I spoke to Mr. Stinson earlier today about the vacation and the personal time, and thanks for your help. They will call. They said they're going to be taking care of that. However, I wanted to find out as far as the terminal lease itself. Has the state made any movement, either good or bad? Which way? We just want to know what direction we're going to have to move in order to get the state to give us what we have promised they had, in my case, for 27 years. Thank you.
Sergeant Mayer, while there was a recent action by Judge Menendez, that action only dealt with the issuance of a temporary restraining order on the state's efforts. Unfortunately, that litigation is nowhere near being concluded. That litigation is going to go on for quite a time. I haven't seen a calendar yet. I haven't seen a litigation calendar yet, but I suspect it's probably going to be briefed and argued into the summer, into the late summer, I guess early fall. So that litigation is going to be ongoing for quite a while longer.
So are you talking about the federal litigation or the
There's
state?
no federal litigation that I'm aware of, Sergeant. The litigation I'm talking is the litigation that was brought both by the Atlantic City fire and police unions, both Superior and non, in front of Judge Mendes in Superior Court.
Thank you.
John X.
Hello, everyone. Couple things. One, the Airbnb situation in the Down Beach area. Here's a photo of a weekend of recycling and trash out of one house. Here's another photo, another Airbnb out of one house. With that, you have these homes that occupy more than 20 people, which means 10 cars, and you're taking away from the people that live there 365. The people that rent don't respect. The cars are blocking the sidewalk, parked into the street. Twice an ambulance up to Berkeley and had to lay on the horn for the people to move their vehicle as they were moving in for their weekend retreat, or whatever you want to call it. It's been a hazard before I moved there. I heard all the neighbors crying about it, and it's becoming a bigger problem. This is also a lost revenue stream that the city needs. You're not collecting a tax, a fee, or anything for these houses to be overturned twice in a week. To where if you have an apartment, you have to go through the first floor, whoever the department is over there, bunk cert, fire cert, and everything else, which is $100 I think now, and you're losing $200 in a weekend as opposed to $100 either every 6 months or the year when someone rents it out. So it might be something you might want to consider. Here's something that came across my desk with Tom's River on how they handle the ordinances for Airbnb, but at the end of the day, it's a lost revenue stream, and it's a major impact on residents in that area. Number 2, small restaurants concerned with the food trucks. Minority don't want them, some don't care, some can go either way. Long and short of it, if you're not a fully operational establishment that does serve beverages or food throughout the year, you should not be allowed to conduct business unless you're the veteran. You know, I guess that's the neutral part of it. But if you don't hold a business in Atlantic City that serves food, alcohol, or non-alcohol beverages, you should not be able to get marked to sell out of a food truck or trailer under those situations. That's about it. I'll leave this for you guys.
Otto Graham. Brother George Ross.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not going to be protocol about it in like 3 minutes, but I welcome you everybody. Congratulations for others, okay? Quickly, I came here today to find out why is the housing authority units being vandalized. I'm in my apartment building, and people are coming through the rafters, and don't tell me that I know what I know, and coming into my unit when I leave and stealing stuff out of my apartment. It's not just fair to me. There's grandmothers and grandfathers and uncles and aunts, brothers and sisters, a whole bunch of people. I live in a high-rise. But for the record, my P.O. box is 825, 8 Atlantic City, New Jersey, 08404. There's a lot of things that I can talk about, and I'm 3 minutes ago. I want to be on the agenda because also, I'm not throwing a stone, but I'm keeping it real because the press was coming to ask me at the time who was doing Lillian Bryant's job. I know I was one of the ones major responsible. Y'all know what's on the front pages, and y'all know too as well. So I got wrongful termination issues. Before I go to law, I'm coming to council, I'm coming to the mayor to bring attention to my situations. Reverend Trapp has passed. I would apologize. I had meetings with other people. He's one of my fathers. I can go on and on. But I tell you one thing, I want to just say this for the record. I got a whole lot of things I want to get to council. I want to know how I can get on the council agenda or to where I need to go before I go to attorneys. If you attorneys out there looking, right next to P.O. Box 825 Atlantic City, New Jersey, so I can get things straightened out. But I want to know also on the new park, which is greatly done. I hope it stays like that over here on Baccarat and Doc Martin. But there's a traffic problem there. I don't want so many children to get hit and killed because people are speeding, especially after work, 25-mile zone, I think it is, but they're going 50, 60 miles an hour. I know that because I'm out there. I'm not throwing a stone at nobody, but I know the chief is here, and the mayor's here, and the council's here. we need to address that for something tragically happening out there. So, you know what, I'm not gonna take up no more time. I can go on and on. I got a lot of issues, but I'm asking you to put me on the agenda. I come to see you, Mr. Shabazz, a couple times. I came to see you there today. I talked to you, Marty Small, Councilman, with respect. Congratulations to you too, Mr. Joanne, with no disrespect. But I want to say this here, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Neither can a city, nor a county, nor a nation. So no matter whatever the outcome is, let's come together and build a nice city where it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, I'm not going to ask Brother Ross on the record, but I'm going to come talk to you in a moment. I want to find out which housing authority that is to try to get the security to look at that, because that should
be real with you, why I haven't done a lot. I went to legal services because it's in almost every last one of them. People come in and you're stealing something. You're older, you're forgetting. You're 80, 90 years old. You don't remember. My mind's still good, even though a lot of stuff has happened that I got to resolve also in some meetings. And I'll be glad to talk to you quite a bit today.
Council President Small, we also mentioned that very concerned for the playground in Uptown where kids cross in the middle of the street. And we haven't really gotten any feedback in terms of how we're going to address the safety of the kids. Because believe it or not, MLK, Baltic, is a lot more busier than it is uptown on Rhode Island Avenue. But when we start to move forward with these things, we got to start also looking at possibly speed bumps and walking lanes to give drivers a heads up that they're entering a children's zone. So if we can actually start looking at putting speed bumps specifically around the playground areas that are high traffic areas, that'll probably save us from having someone's parents here crying about the child being hit.
Council President, I thought you were going to go to the fact that who's responsible for upkeep of that? Because I mean, the park's 33 years old. It looks like it's 33 years old.
Which one?
Uptown Park, you know, where the baseball field and everything is.
I'm talking about the walkway.
Oh, I'm talking about the park. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's responsible for keeping that park up. Like I said, it's only 3, maybe 5 years old at the most. And it's horrible. So can somebody tell me who's responsible for cleaning, cutting the grass, making sure the baseball field is intact, so forth and so on?
Council President, as we're putting a list of agenda items to talk about when it comes to the parks, I was also at the technical playground, and there's 3 pipes, exposed pipes, that's sitting off the ground, at least 6 to 10 inches long, maybe about 10 feet away from the slide where children interact. I've made a phone call to Public Works. Hopefully it's on the list to knock it out, to get it done, to cut them pipes out the ground. But that's demonstrative to what was happening as far as the recreation department. Up in the Marina District itself, we've had ongoing issues in that playground as well, when the side or the grounding, the rubber that's been used as to be protected, is actually a bed now for growth and things like this. And we don't know what kind of natural things have been growing out of there where the children can't play as well. Uptown Park, you see how it's just been falling apart. MLK, the region that we have, we're not paying closely attention to the areas that we need to when it comes to our children. That's the bottom line, regardless of who's to blame what. We need to align our attention more on that and less on the people coming into the city. We're so concerned on the industry and the potential money that these corporations could make from these individuals that we've lost sight that society who doesn't take care of their children and their seniors are a shameful society. And that's what we're
Thank you very much, Council President. Can I give a question answer? Who's responsible for cleaning Uptown Park? Okay, so
I'll follow up on that too.
I appreciate it.
Council President, I want to ask that administration, basically, you know, like, as we go, around a month ago, there's a car that goes went through the bulkhead. I was wondering, what's the situation on that, and when is that bulkhead going to be repaired?
I don't know when it's going to be repaired, Council, but I can tell you that we're working with the insurance companies to get some confirmation on the car to help repair that. But I don't know.
state is that, the bend over by Fairmont Avenue where the ball cone is pretty dangerous. People driving down there like 30, 40 miles per hour and drunk. I was wondering, any way that we can address that? Or maybe, do an evaluation on that.
So can we have, the, Public Works look at possibly conducting, speed bumps in areas that cause, folks to slow down? We have signage up. That hasn't basically worked. And again, we're creating playgrounds in areas where I don't know if we look at the importance of having safety measures. Again, those kids that go to the park, specifically on back of MLK, they don't go to the corner. They cross through the village in the middle of the block. And it was better to put something out there at least to show folks that this is a playground area, it's a high children risk area, and more importantly, speed bumps. I don't understand why the city is so opposed to putting speed bumps when it's only, if you looked at it, it doesn't cost that much. Public Works is pretty much create speed bump bounds to have folks just slow a little bit. So can we look at that, Jason?
Absolutely, and if you have some very specific areas that you're concerned about,
Rhode Island Avenue, MLK, and Fairmont and around Providence.
Yeah, Fairmont around following two different social villages.
Between Harvard and I believe it's Winchester. That's the MLK.
No, I'm just saying that. We need.
Councilman, just one quick question for you, Jason. They have a time capsule open on Friday, and downtown time capsule. Anybody run through there before Friday, where the hell?
Councilman Delgado, you had mentioned some pipes that were sticking out in the
Texas Avenue Playground. Between the slide and the monkey bars. Pipes there. There had been a device that was there before. And in the Marina District, the playground that we have back there has been loose. What do you call it? I forget the name of the actual thing. It's like a seesaw or whatever it is. A spring-mounted animal-like thing, whatever the situation is. I mean, the decay and all that stuff. One of them was loose, so it was hanging off the side. We also had the spinner, where the children like to get busy. That's been on the We need to do what we can to do that. We would have a friendly voice at the CRDA that can help us, right, Tim? Thank you, sir.
Happy to. One other location to add to the list is the baseball field at Chelsea Heights. The soccer field doesn't require as much maintenance as the baseball field, but since that's new as well, and just I realize we have a manpower issue, but it'll be nice to get some attention as well.
Derek Kayson.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I'm putting on one hat. So first, I'm here representing St. James AME Church. I'm representing the steward board and the pastor of St. James AME Church. We had an issue with a building that was behind our church, a shed, that was really almost virtually camouflaged, and there was a lot of activity going on there that we felt was illicit and unhealthy. We said something to our third ward councilman, Kaleem Shabazz, and he said I was nagging him. After the second time I said something to him, but when we went to church on Sunday, that shed was gone. And so I have been asked by the pastor and the steward board of St. James AME Church to express our heartfelt thanks for your swift action in taking care of that situation for us. Thank you very much. I'm putting on another hat. I represent 48 blocks 48 Blocks is a celebration of arts and creativity that is going to be taking place in Atlantic City on June 24th. It is named 48 Blocks because Atlantic City is 48 blocks long. And so there's going to be 8 events in each of the 6 wards of Atlantic City for 48 total events of arts, creativity. There's going to be music, there's going to be art, there's going to be puppet shows, there's Adirondack chairs and decorated bicycles and all sorts of neat stuff that's going to be taking place. It's being presented by the Atlantic City Arts Foundation and Stockton University. So we'd like to invite each of you on that day, June 24th, to come out, participate, be a part. It's a citywide event. There's going to be things on people's porches going on, all kinds of entertainment. So please come out and take a part in that. That's number 2. I think I have a little bit of time left. I'm putting on another hat. I am now representing Triax 57, and I would ask that administration please use your microphones when you respond. It's very difficult to hear your answers, and it almost seems like you don't want to be heard by the public. I'm taking my hat off. God bless you all.
Al Dunston. M.S. Rosenberg.
Gentlemen, as usual, it's great to see you all. We've all had a little bit of hard times lately. In particular, I'm here to discuss Uber, the illicit taxi cab company and organization that throughout this country right now is destroying the taxi industry, particularly here in the state of New Jersey.
Murray, you didn't give us your name just for the...
Oh, Murray Rosenberg. I'm president of the Yellow Cab Company here in town. My company is 100 years old now. My dad ran it for the first 50 years, and for the last 50, despite my young appearance, I didn't run it. I've run it for the last 50. The disaster that's befallen the country, and I speak for all the taxi industry in the country and even internationally. Just a few years ago, I was president of the International Taxi and Livery Association, which is a very large organization, basically based right outside of Washington, D.C. This organization has run without rules, without regulations of any kind for 10 years. Only recently, meaning May, our governor and our legislature decided to legalize them just the way they operate. No licenses, improper insurance. They are literally 100% commercial enterprises run by a group called Uber, which essentially they will tell you that they are a computer company. And simply GPS, they provide a service and that's all they do. Except for a few other small facts that count a little bit. They don't carry commercial insurance. They use personal cars, private cars, have no rates that are published anywhere or in any community, and practically every municipality that I know in the state of New Jersey, and for that matter throughout most of the country, have municipal regulations for the taxi industry and limousines, and in our case, the jitneys too. We are heavily, and I do mean heavily, impacted by the discounted rates. Hell, I could run for half the price I do too if I didn't have to buy commercial insurance, and if I didn't have to have my drivers vetted. And I think most people understand the problem, but most of the time what I hear is, oh, that Uber's an awfully big company and they don't take any nonsense, and. Well, that's pretty obvious too. I don't know if you caught the papers lately, but in the state of California, they completely ignored the discrimination laws too. And they are under a great deal of duress right now because of that. However, I ask you, I am under the impression, and this is from legal advice, hardly a court decision or anything like that, that this municipality, as well as most others, require any commercial business in any community to be licensed. We haven't done anything like that. And this statute, as passed by the state of New Jersey, simply says all bets are off. You don't have any rules or regulations that you have to follow. Hands up. Goodbye. my own business, I'm down about between 15 and 25 units. And it's a company that operates between 75 and 100 taxi cabs.
Rosenberg,
Yes.
that was the buzzer.
All right, I think you all get the idea. I really, the mayor has been very helpful, as has our mercantile office. But we do need some kind of clarification.
Thank you.
Sorry if I bored you to death, but this is not exactly my favorite group, as you may ascertain. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public would like to speak?
My name is Moshe Matt. I'm with Home Initiative, with Home Initiative, which is a nonprofit housing group. I want to announce that we are already having home ownership classes beginning June 29th over at the Albany Memorial Building. There will be 6 2-hour classes. There's no charge for the classes. We are thrilled because we held classes at Hal's last year, and over 31 people who graduated, 4 have purchased homes, 3 in Atlantic City, and recently one of those 3 purchased on the Atlantic City Housing Authority. I mention that because people who live in a housing authority, those units are not taxed. When they buy a unit, even though the units are partially taxed, that's partial tax to the city as well as the school. So hopefully, I've said, with the exception of Councilman Shabazz, Yahoo went down. I sent out Ms. Galati, okay, had sheets for everybody, and I've also sent out emails to everyone with the exception of Councilman Shabazz, and I'll have that out tomorrow. So I hope that you'll please pass the information out to your constituents. We have 28 so far registered with enough room to double that. So thank you very much.
What do you need me on?
What?
I'm just kidding.
Yahoo went bad. I was ready for
That's a joke. That's a joke.
We go back 40 years.
I know.
All right, public. She wanted to. Okay.
Thank you. I'm a member of the Golden Circle in Atlantic City. We are. The other day we had my name is Lillian Snowden.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm a member of the
I know.
Yes. Okay. We were talking the other day to ask you, can we have a bus to go, maybe one day out of town? And they said they only had one bus a year. Is that true?
That's the administration.
Is that true?
Have you made a request?
Yes. They give me to send you a letter. Excuse me. They give me to send you a letter from our Golden Circle. We are Cal Building, back on New York Avenue, and to ask you, could we have a bus for just one day?
As soon as I get the letter, we'll respond to it.
Thank you so much.
It should be yes. It should be yes, they can have a bus. The seniors.
Yes, the seniors.
Yeah.
We have members from 65 to 104.
I'm fully aware of the Golden Circle. What I'm saying is, upon your request, it should be a yes.
Thank you.
Because our seniors should not have to basically stay stuck in the buildings. They should actually be able to go out and live and enjoy. And if the city has a vehicle that will help make that happen, we should be saying yes. Because there's no cost for our seniors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wasn't that one of the caveats of us getting a new bus?
Yeah.
It was solely being used for senior citizens. We couldn't use it for any other recreational need or anything else. It was solely used for senior citizens. So if that's the case, that yes looks a little bit more realistic and a lot more absolute to me.
I think is the bus was for seniors, but the key is how far can it go? So we can't have one that goes farther than that goes farther than when to go. We should find one to assist them.
So you're saying it can't get past Lebanon?
I'm just saying the toll booth is a long way. The young lady calling us, when you get past Pleasantville, she need help.
All right.
Public portion closed.
So we now have ordinances on second and third reading. We have ordinance 11, which is an ordinance amending chapter 235 of the code which regulates towing of motor vehicles.
Move it.
Have any motion moved by Randolph, second by Marsh. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, public vote is closed. Discussion. Seeing none, call the vote.
Chang? Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
No.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
No.
Small?
Yes.
7 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. Ordinance 13 is an ordinance amending chapter 57 of the code regulating job titles, and this is in the social services division.
May I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. Anyone from the public like to speak? Seeing none, public portion is closed. Discussion. Seeing none, call the vote.
Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
No. No. Yes.
Media day.
Tibbet?
Yes.
Small?
Yes.
9 in the affirmative.
May I have a motion to group ordinances on first reading and resolutions?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz. Delgado.
Good.
Shabazz.
Good.
Randolph.
I'm good. You know, can I speak on that? No problem. I'll just talk.
Well, we can pull 9A for, that way we can, yes.
Yeah, just pull it, just for information.
9A?
We're going to vote on that separately. Marsh, Kurtz.
At this point, I want to make a motion to add an ordinance under consideration for first reading. And just for your information, Mr. President, I did follow what I thought was the committee procedure to get this on the agenda. I brought it by the chair of the committee, and I thought it was going to be on the agenda, or at least on new business, and it isn't. So I am offering it as a motion, and for a courtesy to the other members, I made copies of it, and I'll be glad to read it. But the motion is an ordinance to amend Chapter 56-7 of the Code of Atlantic City, which regulates residency requirements. And under Section 1, it would amend the code as follows: that bona fide residency of the city shall be a requirement for the promotion of officers and employees based upon merit, as determined by suitable promotion tests or other objective criteria. The requirements stipulated herein shall in no way diminish, reduce, or affect the preference granted by any other provision of law. So I make that motion, Mr. President.
May I have a second? To be included in the group.
Can we pull it? Do our vote and do this separate?
He's saying something.
So can we do what we were doing and then bring this up
Yeah,
afterwards?
we can bring this up along with 9A.
Yeah.
Shane?
Other than that motion, I have nothing, Mr. President.
Shane? Tibbet? Really? All right. Cool.
Okay, we'll be voting on first reading ordinance 9A. This is additional name and designation. Oh, 9A and 9B are both. We'll be voting on 9B, an ordinance designating Bartram Avenue Beach Patrol as Russell E. Alpes Junior Memorial Beach Patrol Station. 9C is a designation of California Avenue as Silver Shanks Way. 9D is an ordinance amending chapter 182, regulating massage parlors. Resolution 359, 342, 343, 344, 346, 347, 348, 353, 354, 357, 358, 341, 345, 360, 355, 356, new business 361, and 366.
Okay.
Chang?
Yes.
Delgado. Yes. Gilliam.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet. And Small.
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative. We now have first reading ordinance 9A, and this is to provide additional name and designation of Lighthouse Court as Abraham Smith Jr. Way in recognition of Abraham Smith Jr.
Can I have a motion?
I move.
Moved by Marsh, second by Randolph. Discussion?
Is any members of Abe's family here, still here? Or was some earlier? Okay. This is just the first reading. This is just the first reading. I just wanted to explain that publicly. This is just the first reading. The second reading, you need to be here. This is only the first reading.
But I came from Atlanta, Georgia.
I understand,
So I
and
just wanted to hear.
yes, and oh, you just want to hear it? That's good.
I want to hear it.
Okay, that's good. Okay. All right.
And as a courtesy, since she came from Atlanta, in case she can't be here for the first reading, after we read it into the record, we'll afford an opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Very good. Nice move.
Chang.
Yes.
Delgado.
Yes.
Gilliam.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Randolph.
Yes.
Shabazz.
Yes.
Tibbet.
Yes.
And Small.
Yes. And Paula, before she comes up, can you just read it into the record,
Oh,
please?
whereas Abraham Smith Jr. was raised in Atlantic City, beginning his entrepreneurial spirit as a young boy, bagging groceries at the local A&P and using his red wagon to take groceries to customers' homes. And whereas Abraham Smith Jr. was also affectionately known to the community as Sonny or Abe. Whereas as he grew older, Abraham Smith Jr. served his country in the United States Army, and upon returning to Atlantic City, he purchased his first mercantile license in 1959. Eventually, he purchased additional licenses. Now, nearly 6 decades later, he still owns taxi cabs in Atlantic City. And whereas during stable and turbulent times, Sonny was able to sustain his business because he provided friendly service to Atlantic City community and took time to know the residents of the city. And whereas Sonny is a prominent figure in Atlantic City, he is a member of Union Baptist Temple, attending there for more than 60 years. His family was raised on Washington Square, and he lived in the city for his entire adult life. And whereas Abraham Smith Jr. represents part of a generation that created a sense of pride in the Atlantic City community, his indomitable spirit and will to succeed is an example to future generations. And whereas Abraham Smith Jr. has, by action and example, been a significant part of the fabric and history of Atlantic City. And whereas the City of Atlantic City has designated streets with additional names for various local individuals who have tirelessly devoted themselves and made everlasting contributions to the City of Atlantic City. And whereas the City Council, the City of Atlantic City, and the administration of Atlantic City would like to designate an additional street name to honor and commemorate this individual. Now that therefore be it resolved by the Council for the City of Atlantic City that the section of Lighthouse Court and Rhode Island Avenue shall also be designated as Abraham Smith Jr. Way in recognition of the contributions Abraham Smith Jr. has made to the community. And that vote was 9 in the affirmative.
And she may come up.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Dr. Brenda Joyce Smith. I'm from Emory University, Atlanta, Georgia. I traveled here to stand with my family, my sister and siblings, brothers, nieces and nephews, to affirm what you have before us. My brother, the second of us, of 8 of us, have lived in the city more than 80 years. We as a family have been in Atlantic City 110 years. Our family traveled here during the migration of the South from Valdosta, Georgia. So we have a long history here. We have a family that served here in Atlantic City. We have served as ministers, as teachers. We've served here as businessmen. We are proud of our brother. I am the seventh and one of eighth, and my sister Sharon is the eighth. He was like a father to us. My brother was admitted to Morehouse University and put aside that so that my sister and I could go on to college. And so I am so glad and so proud, I can't say enough. I stand here also for my mother, who has been going now 14 years. And I know that she is looking down over the Bennett's family to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I have a motion? Moved by Kurt, second by Randolph. Discussion?
This is an ordinance amending chapter 56-7 of the Code of the City of Atlantic City, which regulates residency requirements.
Discussion?
Okay, good. I have questions.
May I just say something first, because I think it's important. I've had the opportunity to discuss this, and with regard to this, I'm not in a position to approve it as to form of legality, simply because I don't believe that as it's written and constructed, it's lawful to use residency as a basis for a merit promotion, and in fact can be discriminatory. So I don't believe as written this is a lawful ordinance. I can't approve it as to.
I have a question, but I just want to know, in the last couple meetings, we were told there's questions on whether we're still civil service. Are we following civil service for promotional purposes, or are we following the chief's test for promotional? Are we still civil service? Where are we at as far as that goes?
Councilman, your HR director participated in a series of meetings along with administrative staff and myself. There is a signed memorandum of understanding between the Civil Service Commission and the city / state, which suspends, I think is the right word. I don't have the document in front of me, obviously, but suspends civil service. It can't and shouldn't be eliminated in its entirety, because if there's no record of the actions that are taken during the period that the Stabilization and Recovery Act is in place, when the Stabilization Act and Recovery Act is ended, there'd be no way to kind of to go back and see the memorialization of the progression, the history of those actions. So I would answer your question by saying that the MOU suspends civil service during the effective operational period of the Stabilization and Recovery Act.
Okay, so the main part of my question is are we following civil service guidelines for promotions, or are we following the chief's test rights to promotion? The non-civil service towns fall under the chief test for promotions, and then civil service town goes under the test that they take, and the appointing authority picks from whatever the rule that particular municipality has. So are we following a non-civil service town's chief's test, or are we following civil service guidelines for promotional purposes?
I'm not sure I can answer the question. I'm not sure either is necessarily being followed, but I think your solicitor may want to clarify.
And I'm with you. I'm always for I believe strongly in all our patrolmen and firemen that do live in town, especially policemen, because policemen, when you live in town, you're a cop 24 hours a day. Even when you're home in your yard, you're a cop, compared to the guy that gets to go home and escape his work environment for a little while. You know, things that could help, especially with promotions, are right now we have a rule of 3. Raise that rule up, and then when you interview for promotion, raise the number of what you're picking from. Right now we're picking from the rule of 3. Raise that up some. You know, and when you bring in for the interview process and all the tests are closed, the guy that's in town that responds faster, obviously that gives him a bump up where you can pick from 1 to 3. Right now you can pick 3 over 1 if you choose to. Another thing you can do to help local police officers that live here and patrol 24/7, because this is their home, you know, take back all these take-home cars right now and distribute those take-home cars to the cops that live in town. Because we all remember when we had them CP cars in the neighborhoods, you know, there was police cars in all the neighborhoods, and there was a sense of safety here. We shouldn't see cars going over, you know, all over the state right now. You know, there are some cars that leave this county. I say bring those cars back, give them to the police officers who live in town, and have those cars parked in the city and the neighborhoods like they used to be, because they were a great deterrent to crime. But there's many things we can do to help and to, I don't want to use the word favorite, but you give some help to that local police officer to move up the chain of command as well.
Question, what is the challenge part that you two can't get together and address? Because I'm definitely in favor if you live here, because we do, you know, you should be, you know, rewarded. But the challenge part has to come very often, and can you two get together, along with Anthony, you know, whoever, and make sure, you know, everything's on solid ground, and we can move with it.
And I just wanted to chime in as far as the legality aspects from, you know, collective bargaining, contractual issues as well. But if, you know, all parties get together and present it in a form that the solicitor can give us the go-ahead to vote on, yeah.
You know, I'll just put for my colleagues and for the public is that I did have extensive discussion with Mr. Tarver and with others about this. My impression leading into tonight was not that what I was proposing was of illegality or of something that was not lawful. I recognize that as far as a professional opinion being offered by our professional, that he was highlighting certain issues, not just with this, but also with our residency requirement for hiring and our residency requirement for directors. And while I acknowledge that people can always challenge anything in court, when it comes to the legislative process, when you have a city of people that, regardless of which ward they live in, overwhelmingly want to see stronger residency requirements, where you have a city that we should love and respect and honor our employees, but at the same time realize that we're investing in our employees, and while we're rebuilding a town, we want them to invest in us. And for those people, nobody would lose a job under this proposal because they're not residents. But at that moment when they would decide to opt for a promotion, they'd have to make that judgment call, am I willing to come in and invest in the rebuilding of Atlantic City by living here to be eligible? I've done other research and seen that we're not alone in having residency requirements. You have 24% of cities, major cities in this country, that have one form of residency requirement or another. Going back over the history in this town of the residency requirements, not once but twice, this body has passed residency requirements to have them overridden by administration and then have that veto overridden. So there's always been a tension on this issue, but I think as far as roles go, and my understanding is that if I can get something tangible in writing with clear references that this is unlawful or of an illegal nature, I will not offer it for second reading. But at this point, I would encourage my colleagues to stand with me on first reading to get this conversation going in a serious manner and work out these issues.
Well, I would have a hope. Thank you.
Can we get that answer on whether we fall under civil service or the chief's test? I'm sure the police would like to know that as well, how we're moving forward right now.
Okay. Let me just, I did want to clarify, because what we've said is that there are questions in law as to residency requirements overall. But what this ordinance seeks to do, it seeks to use as a criteria for promotion the question of whether or not you live in the city of Atlantic City. And the problem is that case law is somewhat clear with regard to this, that with regard to promotion, whatever you do in terms of the criteria has to be rationally based on the job itself, not some outside criteria. So you can't say, for example, that only people who own a Chevrolet in Flint, Michigan can be promoted in that city because it helps the economy of Michigan. It has to be rationally related to the job. So there has to be merit based upon what they have done within the workplace as a criteria for promotion. Otherwise, there are all types of different issues. For example, is it economically feasible for a person to be able to change into the city? And are there discriminatory issues with regard to that as to whether or not a person who is more economically benefited can fit the criteria for promotion? So you'll only have people who are able to move actually fitting the criteria for promotion. Once a person is already in a job, it is, I would say, not proper to attach conditions by law that are not rationally related to the job itself. And that's what my
Mr. President, if I could, I think I agree with the concept of what you put forth for Councilman Curtis. I can't speak for everybody. I think all of us in general consensus that we need to get more people in Atlantic City and people who get a paycheck from Atlantic City. I would respectfully suggest that you get with our solicitor and then try to work this out, and we bring it back in July and move on it after the solicitor gives you his professional advice and research and take out the wrinkles on it. That would be my suggestion.
And Council President, I'm not a lawyer, but I agree with Mr. Tarver. I mean, and I fully support what you're trying to do with this wholeheartedly. But I think between now and then, if we all get together and we make some phone calls, and we clearly include the chief, and come up with ideas to help the police officer that lives in the city within, incentives to see here and recognition of gratitude for them reinvesting in the city as well after we've given them a good career, that we do something like that, because if this is only going to affect a minimum few, the rank and file and patrol that do all the work, call, night after night after night, I think if we put our heads together and we talk with the chief and come up with ideas on how we can do beneficial things to those that live in the city. Like I said, the car thing is a simple, easy one. The home ownership program, if we get back with the county and we get that county money, we can start doing it with the police as well to give them discounts to buy houses in town. And there's lots of things we could do that would support the rank and file as well as those few that are in promotional. But don't forget, you get guys in that promotional ring, the guys on the street don't get time to study like a lot of the guys in the white shirts do. It's a tough job on the street, and I suggest and would be willing to help you with ideas on things to help that rank and file guy, the guy that's patrolling, that's on that street every night, answering call.
Councilman Kirk, this is good stuff because it spawns conversation around how we start to address certain things that, as you made a point that the community, the residents of Atlantic City are asking us to figure out ways to help our tax base, bring folks in and having people work where they live. I don't have a position either way, but I understand the purpose of it. And the key is at least it's spawned some healthy conversation as to how we begin to look at attacking some of those issues, because that is a true issue. Think about it, Atlantic City housing scape may not look the way it looks if we were to be one of those municipalities that enforce public safety and people who work in the city. For example, we have yet to follow the law in the book in terms of any director that works for the city of Atlantic City. And at some point, we're going to have to find a definitive line that we're going to actually utilize that law, or we're going to actually begin to open up opportunities to start massaging how we're going to move forward with those laws. So I think it's a great piece of documentation to spawn the conversation so we can we're gonna look at how we move forward pertaining to residency.
And Mr. Cunningham, I know I'm on borderline harassing you, but with this county money, I have 3 police officers, very young, with 5 years or less.
I'm prepared to give you an answer.
Okay, with 5 years or less, looking to buy in Atlantic City. And I've sat down with them and ordered them to get over there, put their name on the list, regardless of them having money, don't take no for an answer. You know, so that money over there has so much potential for the average working Joe. It doesn't help casinos, it doesn't help big business, it helps the average Joe. And as soon as you release that money, you're gonna see 3 to 4 police officers buy homes in this town within the next month or so. So I need you to put that front and center.
Well, it is front and center, but Councilman, I don't understand it as a proposal that would actually increase home ownership. The proposal
You
that
get
the
help
Atlantic
with your
County-
down payments.
It was a home improvement program that was submitted by the Improvement Authority. As I promised you at the last meeting, I did pull out after the Borgata bonds sold, which I should just report to the council that that deal was closed as of last Thursday. We pulled out that filing and I took a look at it. My question is this. That money is funded through luxury tax, which has restricted uses to it. I have tasked attorneys with looking to see not to move that money to the city's general fund because I don't think there's any potential liability, potential opportunity for that. What I want to see, and what I've asked attorneys to look at, is whether that money could be used for the payment of debt service of the city. As I think you and as I just reported on, I think your colleagues on the board all know, with the Borgata debt selling, there's increased debt service. With the other tax appeal liabilities that remain outstanding, there's going to be even more debt service in order to settle them. I want to see whether that money could be used for a limited purpose of that. If that money cannot be used as luxury tax money, so I can't just use it for anything, but debt service may be one of the things it could be used for. We're looking into that. Once I have that answer, we'd be able to be in a better position to know. So I did as I promised. I moved it back to front and center. I'm sure by the next meeting I'll have that legal analysis completed.
Okay, but there is a part 2 to that program. It's not just home improvement, it's home purchasing as well. And I hope to God, I mean, the county has kept that quiet because of one reason. They didn't want the state to steal the money. It's a home ownership program that has been going on for over 10 years now. And as people sell their homes, that money gets paid back in from the homeowner that they took the loan, and it keeps that vicious circle, a good circle.
I can promise you that the state's not going to steal that money. What my goal is to see if that money can be used in a more direct way to pay the debt service of the city, given the city's,
We'll build the neighborhoods back up from what we've been destroyed by, I hope you don't take it all, is what I'm getting at. I hope you leave enough to encourage home ownership, to get these young police officers that you basically took everything from, this Christie administration, give them a chance to buy a home working off of $46,000 a year, minus all the money that gets taken from them.
Council President, along the same line, but I have a question. Is it true that the city's giving the CDBG to the county?
Federal program, federally funded program?
No, not that I'm aware. There's been no change or movement in how we've been addressing the CDBG program.
Is that going to be a surprise in the paper? Council didn't act CDBG over the county?
Councilman Gilliam, just to amplify from the state's perspective, nothing either.
Right, federal program.
Move to
Councilman Curtis, I applaud, let me continue on with this. I applaud the attempt in initiating of this discussion. I think it's a healthy discussion, as my colleagues have said. We need to do that to make the emphasis of restructuring the city itself. Restructuring is something that's it's cliche, so to speak, and sad to say it's become cliche for Atlantic City. Because too often we've allowed certain groups with enough power and influence to be solvent and being self-sufficient and being away from it, where this may open up the dialogue so we can all share in the burden. because reality is Atlantic City is restructuring, whether it's by the impacts of those involved from the state side, or is it just internally from our own measures that we've been working on for quite a long time, implementing it within time. So I do applaud you. However, I will move on in addition by saying that we have to be cautious, because the rationale behind this, to add to some equity behind it, is because when you have police living in the communities are where the police are, and those individuals who may interact in an illegal fashion may not interact because of the police department being involved. And if we have more people residing in the communities who are police or people involved in law enforcement, our crime rates would probably diminish as well. So it's an amazing rationale. We can quantify the amount of monies that are being lost constantly because of all this, the break-ins that we've been having throughout the city. We've had break-ins, Ducktown region, we've had break-ins in the greater West Side region, we've had break-ins uptown, we're hearing about break-ins in the senior buildings, and it's unfortunate because hardship causes people sometimes to make bad choices, and sometimes bad choices encourage people to be thieves and what have you. So as we're going through some hardships, we have to do what we can to move and be part of the solution and not just push this problem to the side. So I applaud this, and I'm hoping that this can be mobilized in a greater fashion that can help the community, and not just the independent individual officers that may play, because I think it's a win-win for all of us.
And I just want to clarify one thing with the intent to this conversation, is that the ordinance, both as it's written and its intention, does not mean to single out public safety or a branch of public safety. It applies to all employees, because to quote our counsel, I think the value of residency is rational. I think it's a rational value that you can point to, and I think it improves the job performance of anybody, whether they're in recreation or they're in taxation, whether they're in public safety or in public works. I think living in a community where you do your work adds a substantial, rational value to your job. And I like that on the record.
And this, for the record, we're going to pull it and bring it back in its proper form, because the solicitor said he's not comfortable with the legality of it. So the parties will meet and come up with a sound plan that passes the legal muster, because even if we vote on first reading and prepare for second reading next month, with a substantial change, it's going to go back to first reading. So we might as well just get it right the first time and move forward.
All right, under that point, Council President, I'll withdraw it for tonight. That makes sense. Yes, Madam Clerk.
May I have a motion for executive session?
Move it. Second.
Moved by Randolph, second by Shabazz.
Resolution 349, A, Walden versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp, B, Santiago, City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp, and C, Edwards versus City of Atlantic City Workers' Comp. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph?
Yes.
Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small?
No.
8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. About how long, please?
7 minutes.
Motion moved by Shabazz. Second by Kurtz.
We have resolution 350, and this is a settlement for Walden versus City of Atlantic City. 351, Santiago versus City of Atlantic City. And 352, Edwards versus City of Atlantic City. Chang?
Yes.
Delgado?
Yes.
Gilliam?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Marsh?
Yes.
Randolph? Shabazz?
Yes.
Tibbet?
Yes.
And Small?
Yes.
That's 8 in the affirmative.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait, Council President.
Moved by.
Before we move, can I just make a quick notation? I don't know if anyone has said it prior to me coming in, but I wanted to congratulate Princess Inc. For an amazing job with their jump rope initiative, bringing out the community that they did at Browns Park. It was amazing. It was well populated. It was something that was out the box, and it was something that was meant to be done exactly how it was, and it was very successful to bring the community out. So I applaud them, and it just shows that little thinking out the box with a big heart can accomplish anything. So I really appreciate Princess Inc. and everyone involved, Indra and Autumn, for their initiative and doing what they needed to do for for the Jump Rope Initiative, and also exclusive for their community feeding. They fed quite a lot of individuals. I think it was 200-300 people that came into their facility to eat spaghetti free. They just gave out and shared love. So again, this is about showing and promoting love throughout the entire city. My own personal initiative, Unity City, bringing everybody together and showing love for everybody and showing love for the city. So the city, the summer should be a wonderful example of how we can do it if we get past our own little gripes and our own little issues at times, and get past all that and bring the city together the way we need to, because as Mr. Ross has said before, a house divided will fall on its own. So we need to get our house together. All right.
Motion. Real quick. I want to say to everybody, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day is Sunday, and fathers don't get the same kind of recognition as mothers say here, so I want to say that. And the second thing,
Except for the Bell Brothers uptown, that was good.
Monday, June 19th, at 3 o'clock, is going to be the dedication of the plaque for Pinky Craps in front of Convention Hall. And everybody knows Pinky Craps was a staunch cheerleader for Atlantic City. And I think something that if we can make it, we should. Monday at 3 o'clock in front of the Convention Hall in Boulevard.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right.